Sometimes the phone is left in your hand for entire minutes. You know you need to call someone, but there's no one to call. Not because people disappeared from your life, but because none of them will understand what you are carrying right now. The child crying at 2 in the morning, the bill due tomorrow, the tiredness that doesn't go away even with sleep, the loneliness that doesn't hurt less just because you chose to be strong. And in the midst of it all, God seems silent. And here's the question that no one asks you. What if this silence isn't abandonment? What if it's exactly the opposite? Because there is a woman in the Bible who went into the desert alone with her son in her arms, with no plan, no help, no one to call. And it was there, at the worst moment of her life, that God said something that changed everything. Not before the pain, in the middle of it. That's what this video is, for you who are in the middle. Hagar was expelled. This is not a softened interpretation. It is what the text says in Genesis 21. Abraham sent her away with her son, Ishmael, with just bread and a skin of water. No destination, no protection, no promise of help. When the water ran out, she placed the boy under a bush. He walked away. He couldn't watch his son die. She wasn't praying pretty. She was crying on the desert floor. And that's exactly where the text says that God heard the boy's voice. And an angel called Hagar by name and asked, "What is the matter with you, Hagar? Don't be afraid." According to Genesis 21:17-19, after that, God opened her eyes, and there was a well of water right there. Not at the time she asked, when it was needed. Think about that for a moment. God did not avoid the desert. He did not remove Hagar from the situation before it happened. But I was there when things came to a head. And what does this have to do with you? All. Because a single mother who is at the bottom of the desert today is not far from God. It's too close to see. There is a silent belief that is gnawing away at me, that if God really loved me, this wouldn't be happening to me. If He saw me, someone would have appeared. If I were important to Him, I wouldn't be so alone. This belief is a lie. But she is convincing because it feels true when the bills arrive and there is no one to help pay. When your child gets sick at night and you are alone in the hospital. When you look to the side of the bed and there's no one there. Psalm 68:5 calls God the Father of the fatherless and the defender of the husbandless. It is not vague poetry, it is a position statement. It means that God deliberately chose to place Himself alongside those who were left without human support. Not because you are weak, because He has a specific interest in being what no one else has been able to be for you. And here's the part that no one talks about. When human support disappears, God stops being an option among others and begins to be the only foundation. This is not a loss, it's clarity. Pain teaches what years of comfort did not. But what is God doing in the silence? Because silence hurts differently when you no longer have anyone to distract you from the pain. There is a prophet in the first book of Kings named Elijah. He reached a point of such absolute exhaustion that he asked to die, literally. I was alone in the desert, exhausted, feeling like I had failed at everything. God did not send an angel to teach a lesson about faith. It didn't arrive with a list of verses. According to 1 Kings 19:5-8, God's first move was to let Elijah sleep, then wake him up with food, let him sleep again, waking up again with food, and say, "Get up and eat, because the journey is too long for you." God did not ignore burnout. He took care of the body before speaking to the soul. After that, Elijah went to a mountain and waited for God's voice. A strong wind came, an earthquake came, fire came. God was not in any of them. After all that, came a still, small voice. And if God is working in you now in silence, it is because a small voice is not heard when there is noise. You are being prepared to hear what chaos would prevent from arriving. There is another side to silence that needs to be said clearly. Sometimes God is not far away. He's waiting for you to stop trying to figure everything out on your own. This is not judgment, it's observation. A single mother quickly learns not to ask for help because she asked once and was judged, or she asked and no one came, or she learned from an early age that depending on someone is expensive. And this learning, which began as survival, becomes a habit of isolating God as well. You pray for the solution, but does it deliver the weight? Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts." Here's what the text doesn't say. It doesn't say the situation will change. He says peace will guard your heart, even if the situation remains difficult. Peace is not a consequence of resolution, it is a consequence of delivery. And that feels different than trying to control. Trying to control is exhausting. Surrender releases a layer of tiredness that no amount of physical rest takes away. Now I need to speak to you directly. You are carrying something that was not meant to be carried by just one person, and you know it. But he learned to pretend he can. She learned to be strong in front of her children. You learned not to cry where someone will see you. And at night, when everyone has slept, the weight comes back. I'm not here to say it's going to be easy, but I want you to consider one possibility. What you are calling loneliness could be the space that God has opened up for you to come closer. Not because people left, not because you failed at something, but because there is a version of you that is only born in this desert. A faith that only becomes solid when there is nothing else to rely on other than God. Hagar came out of the desert, Elijah rested and continued, and Isaiah 43:1-2 says, "Fear not, for I have redeemed you. I called you by your name, you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. When through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you." It doesn't say you won't pass through the waters. He says he'll be there when you pass. You are not forgotten. You are within the gaze of God, who saw Hagar in the desert, who heard a boy crying with thirst, who woke Elijah and gave him food before saying a word. You can turn off the phone, not because you don't need anyone, but because the only one who always answers is with you now. If this video said something you needed to hear today, leave it in the comments. He sees me. And if you know a mother who is going through this, send her this video now. And, if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. Until the next video.